Hey everyone, it's Culture Art here. Today I'm going to be doing something really cool. I'm creating a portrait of the legendary rock band AC/DC using seeds. While I'm working on this piece, I'll also be sharing with you the fascinating story of how AC/DC came to be, their beginnings, struggles, and rise to iconic status. Now, before I dive into the art and the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and your support really helps me bring you more amazing content like this. Let's start with the beginnings of AC/DC. It all began in Sydney, Australia in 1973. The two founding members of AC/DC were brothers Malcolm and Angus Young. Malcolm, the older of the two, had been playing guitar for some time and was part of a local band. But it wasn't until he met another musician, George Young, that things began to take shape. George was a member of a popular Australian band called the Easybeats, and his experience and influence would play a significant role in the formation of AC/DC. But before they even formed the band, the Young brothers grew up in a musical household. Their parents, who were Scottish immigrants, encouraged them to play music from a young age. Malcolm was the more serious of the two, and while he started out playing the guitar, it wasn't long before he began to experiment with different sounds, shaping his unique, heavy, and raw style. Angus, on the other hand, was a bit of a wild card. His energy, charisma, and rebellious nature would soon make him the face of the band. In 1973, after a few false starts with different band members, Malcolm and Angus officially formed AC/DC. The name AC/DC came from a suggestion by their sister, Margaret. She saw the letters on the back of a sewing machine and thought they looked cool. For the Young brothers, AC/DC symbolized the raw power and electricity that they wanted to bring to their music. The band's energy would soon electrify the music world. But forming the band was only the beginning. At first, AC/DC had a rotating cast of members. Malcolm and Angus had difficulty finding the right people who understood their vision. But in 1974, they recruited a talented group of musicians: singer Dave Evans, bass player Larry Van Crete, and drummer Colin Burgess. With the lineup set, AC/DC began to hone their sound, a mix of bluesy rock and raw energy that would eventually become their signature. Their first few performances were a mix of hits and misses. They played mostly in local clubs and pubs, building up a small but loyal following. Despite their early struggles, AC/DC's sound was undeniably powerful and electrifying. The Young brothers were driven by their love of rock and roll and their desire to put on a great show, which helped them get noticed. Now, let's take a moment to talk about the lineup. After a few years of trial and error, the Young brothers finally found their rhythm with the addition of a new singer in 1974, Bon Scott. Bon had an unmistakable voice that brought a new level of energy and attitude to the band. He was a perfect fit for AC/DC's raw, rebellious vibe. Bon's unique stage presence and unmistakable growl quickly became one of the defining elements of AC/DC. In 1975, AC/DC released their debut album, High Voltage, which included a mix of original songs and covers. Although it didn't make a huge impact initially, the album set the stage for what was to come. AC/DC's live performances became more and more intense, with Angus Young's infamous schoolboy uniform, complete with a tie and shorts, becoming an iconic part of their image. Angus would often strip off his schoolboy outfit in the heat of a show, further igniting the crowd's energy. But it wasn't until 1976 that AC/DC truly hit the big time. They released their second album, TNT, which marked a turning point in their career. The album was packed with some of their most famous songs, including It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll and TNT. The latter became one of their most iconic songs, with its pounding rhythm and unforgettable chorus. Became a massive success in Australia, solidifying AC/DC's place as one of the country's top rock bands. As AC/DC's popularity grew, so did their reputation for putting on wild, high-energy shows. The band's reputation for being one of the hardest-working bands on the circuit soon spread, and they began touring relentlessly. They played everywhere, from small clubs to massive arenas, gaining new fans with each performance. And it wasn't just their live shows that set them apart. Their sound was raw and unpolished, full of gritty, blues-infused rock and roll. Unfortunately, as the band's popularity grew, so did the pressures. In 1979, tragedy struck. Bon Scott, the band's legendary frontman, was found dead after a night of drinking. It was a devastating blow to the band, as Bon was not only a talented vocalist, but also a key part of the band's identity. The Young brothers were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered band. At first, it seemed like AC/DC might not survive without Bon, but in an act of resilience, they brought in a new singer, Brian Johnson, who had previously fronted the band Geordie. Brian's unique voice brought a new dimension to AC/DC's sound, and with his help, the band recorded one of their most iconic albums to date, Back in Black. Released in 1980, Back in Black was a tribute to Bon Scott, and it featured some of AC/DC's biggest hits, including You Shook Me All Night Long and the title track, Back in Black. The album was an instant success, and it became one of the best-selling albums of all time. AC/DC had bounced back from tragedy and had become more powerful than ever. As AC/DC's career continued into the 1980s and beyond, they became one of the biggest rock bands in the world. They maintained their signature sound, loud, fast, and unrelenting, and their live shows remained legendary. The band's iconic image, including Angus Young's schoolboy uniform, continued to resonate with fans all over the world. And today, AC/DC remains a beloved and influential band. Their music is timeless, and their legacy lives on. They've sold over 200 million albums worldwide, and they've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. AC/DC's journey from humble beginnings to global stardom is a testament to their talent, perseverance, and dedication to rock and roll. Now, while I'm finishing up this portrait of the band, I want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your support means the world to me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on AC/DC and what they've meant to you over the years. And don't forget to share this video with your friends who are fans of AC/DC. Let's keep spreading the love for rock and roll. To sum it all up, AC/DC's story is one of passion, dedication, and resilience. From their early days in Sydney to becoming one of the biggest bands in the world, their journey is a true rock and roll tale. They've faced loss, adversity, and countless challenges, but through it all, they've continued to deliver some of the most iconic and electrifying music in history. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out my other videos. Until next time, stay rockin'.